Well, I hoped never to see you again.
What's up, dog?
We're back. Ladies, nobody cared about the Jump Street reboot, but you got lucky.
From the people who brought you Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
And Lego Movie.
And the reboot but sort of sequel of the 1980s TV show that got Johnny Depp's career started. Welcome to
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Not quite, but that would actually be a really cool movie if they made Pirates of the Caribbean 5. Everyone, welcome to Geek Bubble.
Really? Because
Yeah.
the fourth one was terrible.
Look,
I don't want to see a fifth one.
these people specialize in taking movies that you're like, that sounds terrible.
Okay,
And like,
maybe if it was these
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
I mean, I saw that they potentially are helping, at least with Alvin and the Chipmunks, and I'm like, oh, okay.
They will try. You will try.
I like to
We'll
think they just
try.
like sit in their studio and they're like, what is the hardest project we can make good? Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Legos.
Just a movie about Lego. But, people, welcome to Geek Bubble. I'm Grant.
I'm Cameron.
I'm Dylan.
I'm Daniel.
And today we're reviewing 22 Jump Street, the sequel to 21 Jump Street.
And it's so different from the first
Yeah,
one.
I mean,
Not
yeah,
similar in any way.
because
They just moved across the street.
yeah, because in this movie, Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, Schmidt and Jinko, I believe, they're moving to college. They're getting the big life now, you know?
They're pretending to grow up fast, and it's emotional.
And it's not like the movie
seems
might
like
point
justice.
out that this is the exact same crime setup as the last one.
I just think that it was so obvious that you took it for being obvious, and you didn't understand that they were trying to make fun of you.
No, yeah, I think you're
And
definitely
you're
right
too
there.
stupid to figure it out.
Wait, what? Wait, is that like directed to me or the audience or
No, that's directed at everyone.
everyone?
Oh,
like,
okay.
I was like, dang, like,
That
hates
is
Grant
that is kind of the thing about this movie is like there's the wink and the nudge the whole time that it is the exact same setup but in college, but they do their things to kind of keep it from going like the opposite of what you may expect.
I think I even remember them breaking the fourth wall at like one point, just like
There were
Yeah,
several
totally.
points.
Just
What,
like
really?
Ron
just like-
Swanson just like
Oh.
straight looking at the
Yeah.
camera going the exact same thing.
yeah.
But 21 Jump Street got sold, so now we're across the street at 22 Jump Street. But you know what? This movie might have a similar premise, I'll admit. It may be a little bit weaker of a story since we've already seen it, but for me, the humor was still, like, reasonably fresh and entertaining. Like, they had different scenarios.
Comedies always rely on that strong, deep narrative.
Right? And these directors, they totally know that. They totally know that it doesn't really matter what their narrative or plot is, that it's just matter at the end of the day. Did they deliver with humor?
It was funny.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just come out and tell you, I think they definitely hit it, like, on the spot.
They go over the top in many aspects.
Yeah.
So, this movie, it had a lot of funny new gags, but I don't know about you guys, one of my favorite parts is they're like, people really liked Ice Cube's character, so let's give him more to do.
It's like
And what they
people
do with
like
Ice Cube is so funny.
the pop culture's like understanding of Ice Cube. Like, we're gonna make that a character.
Yeah. A main character in this movie instead of being in, like, a scene. Like, he wasn't in 21 Jump Street very much from what I remember. And I thought he was probably one of the best parts of the movie.
He basically, that face he invented in Are We There Yet? Is the face he has the entire movie.
He doesn't change, he just keeps it.
This is like how white I am, that my understanding of Ice Cube comes more from him being like a father in movies than as an actual rapper.
But,
Yeah, he's
Law and
not
Order.
straight out of Compton.
Oh wait, that's Ice-T.
Yeah.
You get him
Different.
wrong.
That's my
should we
knowledge.
just start throwing in Vanilla Ice too? Ice baby? But, I mean, let's hear what you guys think here. Like, I found this movie, pretty darn funny, even though it was a pretty similar premise. What are you guys
I
thinking?
found this movie very relatable in the fact that obviously we're not running around with guns and doing stupid stuff that they do, but the relationship between Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum was like so bromantic, so bromo. It was so
It
I
was
don't
very
know.
bromo is the word for it.
And
Yeah,
it was hilarious. I mean, they go over the top, and it's just all these jokes.
And
about
they
their
don't
romance.
just like touch on it. they continue it. They drive it in, and it's like you're going all the way with this.
It gets
one, or there's
gratuitous
some
at
lines.
points.
Crossed.
That was one of the things I liked, yet I kind of got a little bit old sometimes. Every single joke in this,
I loved it.
they rarely had a joke that was just like a one and done, right?
They
They said the joke, and they drove it home again, and again, and again, and you're like, oh my god, I think this is the sixth time you've said that joke.
I think that you say that, but I've seen the movie twice. First time I didn't see it. Second time I still didn't see it. Because what you're trying to say is like they take the same joke and they drive it home over and over and over again. There's a joke that they have, it's the same premise. They probably say it like 4 or 5 times, but the thing is every time it's different. Every time it has a different spin on it. Whether it's Ice Cube saying it, like, you just have to do the same thing. Or it's Ron Swanson going, it's the same thing as last time. Like, the exact same case as a high school one we had last year.
I don't think I stated it very well. Because yes, they are saying the same jokes again and again. And to me, like, it was funny that they're like, we're going all the way with this. It's just sometimes, and this is one of my few gripes of the movie, I was like, okay, I get it. It really is the exact same movie.
But the thing is it wasn't. It has the exact same premise to start off, but they know that it's the same premise. So they're like, yeah, we're just gonna mess with you and like start changing little things all over the place.
Yeah,
So it's not the same thing.
The reason I think it works is because they pointed out like changes in like the story structure, whatever that may be. Like, the story points is one they pointed out. So it's not really just like, oh, we did this in the last movie. It's like, this is where a story would normally go, and it's what we did last time. And this is how the story is going to change. I think it works throughout the movie.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I mean,
There's
I
no
definitely...
point where I got tired of it.
Yeah, I definitely think the movie, most of its humor hits. Obviously, every comedy, you're gonna have like a joke or two that maybe, you're like, that was okay. But to me, even like the throwaway lines in this movie, where it's just like,
pretty odd.
they were pretty incredibly funny throwaway lines that I'm like finding myself laughing before the like real joke happens. So, and also like the relationship between Tatum and Hill, Cameron kind of touched on this.
God.
How are those two such a bromance? Like, they're so funny. They play so well off each other.
One thing I love about it is the fact that, like, they're these older guys pretending to be these kids in college, but really, they're, like, emotional and intelligent maturity is, like, at the same level as all the people around them. Like, they're basically
even lesser to an
they're
extent.
just growing up, like, as if they actually are these kids.
Oh, yeah.
One of the funniest parts of the movie to me, too, was, like, Channing Tatum's dumb character meets another dumb character, and they have like this spiritual connection that's just so funny. They're like finishing each other's like one line dumb thoughts.
They weren't even finishing; they were saying them at the same time. Like, Jinx, you owe me soda.
But I thought that, to me the movie worked, and I think that's the biggest thing because I was worried about this, and I know I probably shouldn't have been, but because these directors take dumb properties and make them good.
It's
Miller.
Chris Miller.
Yeah, Chris Miller and Phil Lord, I think. And they take a lot of weird properties and make them good movies. But I was like, I didn't really want to pay you to see the same movie again. And when it's all said and done, I don't think I did. So
No. They do little things, and the biggest praise that I can give with this movie comes from the fact that I feel like they learned when they made this one. With the first one, the first 21 Jump Street, it was a really entertaining movie, and it worked really well. But I feel like they were in their early stages of making movies, because it was like their second movie that they made. But
first live action, right?
Yeah, and this one, it's like they took all the success that they had with the first 21 Jump Street and just spread that out and built upon it in the second one. I feel like they just grew as filmmakers in the second one and made a movie that was more complete than 21 Jump Street.
So did you enjoy this more than 21 Jump
I
Street?
did.
Okay.
And I've seen 21 Jump Street multiple times. 22 Jump Street I've seen twice. I saw it last night and just right before coming here, actually. And honestly, even the second time, I was laughing like so hard I couldn't even stand it. And there's that whole like movie theater atmosphere where if you're surrounded by a bunch of your friends or even just in a movie theater with a bunch of people laughing, you're more prone to laugh.
Yeah.
This movie theater was actually pretty bare because it was a 5 30 showings, so everyone's out getting dinner.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just took my parents there, and I was still, like, laughing pretty much nonstop. And there's multiple moments in this movie where I forgot about them after the first viewing, but in the second viewing, they are priceless. Like,
Did your parents like it?
yeah, my parents loved it, and that's actually the another one of those praises that I can give is I feel like this movie is something that anyone can relate to or anyone can enjoy because it fits to the generation of people who just want those on the surface jokes that they can laugh at. They're immediately there and they're easy to understand. But what makes this movie like even better for me and why I like it a little bit more than 21 Jump Street is there's a bunch of jokes that are kind of hidden underneath the surface. That
They're clever.
Intelligent humor in there too.
Super well thought out jokes, and I don't want to point any out because hopefully you can find them when you watch it, but I was noticing even more the second time, and I just couldn't stop laughing, and it was kind of like one of those, smirking moments, like, oh, you clever, I see what you did there.
What I liked was, like, after the movie, when we all got out, and we all noticed a different clever joke.
Oh, yeah.
And that to me, that speaks so much about the movie, because for example, Cameron pointed something out I totally missed. And then I pointed out, like, well, but I saw this, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And, like,
one that I can actually say that isn't pertinent to the story at all was just kind of a clever little thing where I pointed out in the beginning, the online class that they take in the beginning, they just show it. It literally, the podium says, it's something like University of the Internet. They purposefully like pointed out like that. And
Daniel, what did you think about this? Is it better than 21 Jump Street?
I saw 21 Jump Street once, like, however long ago it came out. So I can't really say for sure. I think this one left a bigger impression, I guess, because I really, really enjoyed this one. So I'd probably say I like this one better.
And I guess I'm going to be the one who kind of goes against the opinion here. I think I enjoyed 21 Jump Street just a little bit more, because for me there were points in this movie where I just felt like it kind of went on a little long, and there were moments where I felt the time and it felt like it was dragging, but then it picked up again.
That point where they visited the prison, I felt was totally.
You know what? I just think that was to get those characters back. I agree with Cameron. I thought that scene was just to get those guys back for 21 Jump Street, and I truly. I mean, that's pretty early in the movie where there's just a scene where they go to a prison and they visit some people from the last movie, and to me,
that was in the trailer.
Was that in the trailer even? Okay. And to me, that scene almost that's just one example of where I'm like, you could have cut this. And maybe made this just a little bit tighter.
I was laughing at it. There's some pretty funny stuff in that scene.
It's a little funny, but it's a little messed up.
Oh, it is, but it's still messed up. And
part of it was the best.
Yeah. But it just didn't feel like it flowed very well. I guess would be the good word for it.
Well, it helped progress the story. Like there was a moment in there, like it legitimately does because they open up the thing and he points out something.
He has a light bulb moment, but he didn't have to have it there.
Yeah,
he didn't, but it was entertaining and it did the job.
But I mean, that's just such a minor gripe. I mean, I still think this is probably just as good as 21 Jump Street, which is pretty impressive for a comedy sequel.
Exactly.
To be just as good as the movie before. And I mean,
look
at The Hangover. I actually saw The Hangover 2 not too long ago. That movie's horrible.
Oh, it's terrible.
I mean, the first Hangover, reasonably funny. I laughed quite a bit. But the second one's I can't think of a comedy sequel that's been this effective at, as 22 Jump Street was.
The trailers are always hammered into you nowadays. There's always that moment of, all the jokes in the trailers, I'm not going to laugh at them in the movie.
Yeah.
This is one of those movies where you kind of get caught up in the thing and you forget that the joke's coming right then, and then it hits you. Even like the beginning, like I know it's in the trailer, and I always remember this part because it made me laugh. And it's when Jonah Hill's doing his like Mexican impersonation, and then Channing Tatum's like, "Oh, do you speak?" And Channing Tatum's like, "My name's Camp." And it's like, oh my god, that's great.
I think how many trailers have this thing where you're like, okay, so I just saw all the funny parts of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's definitely
this is not the case.
That is not the case.
They know how to make a trailer for this.
This is probably the best comedy I've seen since This Is the End. Because I really like This Is the End quite a bit. But I mean,
I was thinking, this movie's really good. I probably like it almost as much as 21 Jump Street, and then it got to the end of the movie.
Yeah. people, when the movie ends,
Those credits.
don't be the person to bolt out, because these credits almost bring the movie up. They're
Oh yeah.
Incredibly funny.
that put it over the edge, and I'm like, this is just as good. Maybe better than 21
You know
Jump
what?
Street.
I felt the same way. I was leaving. I'm like, I think I like this quite a bit. And then I saw these credits. I'm like, oh my god, this is so funny.
And just to put it, all it does is it says, directed by Phil Lord or whatever, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and then it does it. So if you're one of those people that gets up right when it says, directed by or filmed by, just sit back down for like 30 more seconds, then it comes
I
out.
was also told, and I don't know this to be true, I was just talking with someone about it today, that there is an after credit. Yeah,
I should have stayed then.
yeah. I guess Thanos comes and recruits Jonah Hill, the Avengers.
You made a statement earlier that I think is blasphemous.
Yeah.
Is this better or worse than the Lego
Oh,
movie?
jeez. Okay, I'll throw it out there now. I was very entertained by the Lego movie. I liked
Hang
it
him.
quite a bit,
Hang 'em.
but I don't love it as much as other people do.
It's overrated.
It's a
It's a
little
great movie, but
overrated.
it's overrated.
It's a very good movie.
We gotta
though.
stop the tape here. I've gotta take care of
You know
some
what?
technical
I
issues.
think it's, can I say, just as good as the Lego movie? It's
Uh,
maybe a little bit better, because I know it sounds
I
cheap,
mean,
but
you do
Well,
get to
then
decide
again,
your last words.
I do
for
need
it.
to see
It's
the
up to
Lego movie twice, and I've seen this twice.
Yeah.
And second viewing of this movie, I got more out of it.
and I think that's something with the directors, is like, they want you to view their movie multiple times. And I will say, I've only seen the Lego movie once.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say that I enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed the Lego movie.
The Lego movie to me had more slow points than 22 Jump Street. 22 Jump Street had a few little slow points, but really there were funny jokes basically throughout the whole entire movie.
You
This
know,
movie too, it seems like they learned a lot from the Lego movie, because those like highbrow jokes are usually like visual and kind of in the background, like they were in the Lego movie. It's almost like watching like one big long episode of The Simpsons, where you gotta be paying attention to all this shit in the background to get like the full experience out of it.
and I have not seen Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, but I've only heard good things about it.
It's good.
And they managed not to fall into that college movie trap either.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's just like
Neighbors.
glorifying, like getting hammered. and
Yeah,
shit. It's
yeah.
I
like,
think
there's-
that's one of my
there's
biggest
some of
issues
that,
with Neighbors,
but-
is it falls right into this trap,
Yeah.
and that's what we have to watch for the next couple hours.
And one thing about 22 Jump Street that said it like it was way different than 21 Jump Street in this regard is that in 21 Jump Street, Jonah Hill is the one having all the fun and the good time, and Channing Tatum's kind of like but in this one it's sort of the opposite way, because in college
Yeah.
there's that different like partying.
Yeah,
Plus the way
I
they
think
handle
that
hipsters
Jonah
was
Hill
amazing.
just didn't know how to fit in.
With that, I think unless anyone else has anything to add, we can move on to some final thoughts here. Cameron, what do you give this movie?
This was a really funny movie, and normally comedy sequels are big letdowns, but this one shined through. I'm probably gonna give it 4 stars.
Okay. All right. Dylan?
22 Jump Street is better than 21 Jump Street, in my personal opinion. So far.
Fact.
So far. It is fact.
Preach it.
No, because I've seen enough of it, and the romantic chemistry combined with Ice Cube and the premise and all the underlying jokes combined with their over-the-top jokes, and some scenes in this movie are so funny they have you laughing for minutes. I know that I've seen a good comedy when I walk out of the theater and my face muscles hurt from smiling the entire time.
Or your abs hurt, like,
Oh,
from,
yeah.
like laughing.
And this definitely did it. So I'm going to give this 4 stars. And that's as high as I'm going to go, and I'm not going to go
Not
any
4.5,
lower.
huh?
No,
Not
it
quite.
was really good. It was really, really good. But it's a comedy, and it's not This Is the End.
Okay. Daniel, what are you giving this?
That's kind of what's holding me back too. I'm not big on comedies, so it's like it's the perfect comedy. But I'll give it a comedy 5 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
Maybe like I don't know, give it 4.5.
Okay. I mean, you really enjoy this. And I guess I appreciate the clever humor. I appreciated more Ice Cube. I appreciate the changes and, like, the winks and nods they make. But that being said, some of the pacing felt just a little bit off, and some of the jokes felt just a little, they felt like they just went on a little bit too long for me to, like, truly say, wow, this is a comedy masterpiece.
They reiterated the same joke.
Yeah, so...
But it was funny.
But I love this. I mean, this movie is probably the best comedy sequel I can think of right now. If it isn't as good as... if it isn't better than 21 Jump Street, then it's definitely almost nearly as good. So with that, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. Go see this movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Right now, it's the movie to see. Although we haven't seen How to Train Your Dragon 2.
We haven't, but I mean, we've been on we've been on some slow movies lately. Although I never did see Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow was amazing.
So
actually, if you see this movie, go see Edge of Tomorrow.
All right.
Feature.
So with that,
Not doing anything with your life. You're
yeah.
listening to us.
You're listening to us, all right? Thank you all, 15 listeners. But with that,
and you, Casey.
Our biggest fan.
Our biggest fan, Casey Link, our Pokemon podcaster. So all of you have a great night, and this is the Geek Bubble, signing off.
The only problem is the Koreans bought the church back, so we're moving you across the road to 22 Jump Street.
You two sons of bitches are going to college.
Oh, so tight. We'll go around to classes and activities, ask around about the drug, find out who the dealer is.
You don't have to do this, man. I just don't want you getting hurt.
I'm not gonna get hurt.